Well, cool. It looks like we have mostly critical mass. The last community call we did was, I think, on the 3rd, right? So right after the new year. So there's been a decent amount of stuff that's happened between now and then, and we have a shitload of stuff in the pipeline over the next like couple of weeks, especially with Barachain becoming more real going into Boyko and then their mainnet launch. So starting off, actually let's get hidden hand stuff out of the way first, and then we can start talking about all of the PXETH and branded LST related things. So on the hidden hand side, Kubco on our team has been grinding a little bit to do a couple of things. One, like a week or so ago, we announced a pretty big UX upgrade for hidden hand. Let me see if I can share this link here. And oh, never mind, Figgy's ahead of me. So we announced a pretty big UX upgrade, and basically what it does is make the depositing experience for projects depositing vote incentives much easier. We've gotten a lot of feedback from partners over whatever the past several months about features that they would like, things that we could improve upon, et cetera. So we've been working on that behind the scenes. And since Hidden Hand is still, pretty popular among the projects that are building on it, we want to make sure that we take care of those partners. It also has a new feature for Aura, where basically like projects who deposit vote incentives that don't get used can get those vote incentives can be rerouted to the pool itself. So if like you're an LP on that pool, instead of receiving emissions from the gauge, the typical gauge incentives, you would receive the leftover bribes directly as an incentive. So that was something that was unused. So unused bribes. So that's something that was requested by a couple of project teams, and we made sure to get it implemented to make sure that Hidden Hand as a bribe market keeps feature parity with the competition, but also stays ahead of the curve a little bit. And then outside of that, we announced yesterday that Hidden Hand the Hidden Hand Beats market, or formerly like Beethoven X market, has been migrated from Phantom to Sonic. So I'm not fully privy to like what the dynamic is between Phantom and Sonic. I don't know if they're completely migrating the chain over, if it's just a new chain, or like what the goal is. But either way, it's not super relevant. But I know Beats has, not only have they rebranded, so brand's looking nice, looking clean, but they also migrated to Sonic. And so we made sure that Hidden Hand market migrated as well. So if any of you happen to be using that, then make sure to do whatever you need to do on the Beat side to migrate over. And then lastly, some of you may have seen there was finally a win mode moment earlier this week where Mode has been working on a new sort of vote escrow governance framework. And as part of that, they have two new tokens. So they have VE mode and they have VE mode and they have VE BPT is what the other one is called. And they're using those to direct emissions to like ecosystem projects building on Mode. I believe they did this in collaboration with Aragon, who we've been working with on the Hidden Hand side to make sure that there is a bribe market for both of those tokens. I think they kind of did like a teaser / announcement like yesterday or maybe 2 days ago. And then next week, we're actually going to do the full rollout for the Hidden Hand market, even though some of you have already noticed it may or may not already be live. So that will be coming soon, and we'll be curious to see how that goes. So the Mode partnership manifested differently than we originally thought it might, but interesting nevertheless. And I think that's all the Hidden Hand stuff. Let me double check. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so that's all the Hidden Hand stuff. So I wanted to get that out of the way. Now we can move on to Dinero PXE stuff. So on the PXE side, actually, should we do Boyko, Sammy, and cover what's going on with Barry ETH Boyko? We've gotten a lot of questions about it. So.
Did you see the beat stuff?
I covered beats.
Yeah, we can do Boyko.
Cool. All right. So as some of you may have seen over the past week or so, the conversations around Boyko have been heating up. That's because it's going to be live very, very soon. And as you all also know, per our announcement, that we are launching Bera ETH on Berachain in collaboration with quite a few Berachain native projects. As part of this effort, before the Boyko launch, we did a sort of like pre deposit vault with Concrete. It's basically a naked WETH vault that will get migrated to Boyko as WETH and start earning incentives there. Not only Dinero token incentives, but also points incentives from all of the projects you could see mentioned on the actual UI. It's like Kodiak, Barabaro, Dolomite, etc. And then actually, when Berachain mainnet launch happens, all of the Boyko funds get bridged over to Berachain mainnet, and the ones that are in the Bera ETH vault will make its way into like Bera ETH proper, and that's when you'll start to see TVL for PX ETH go up. Because right now there's no way to use that TVL inside of PX ETH and migrate it to Berachain mainnet with the infrastructure that they have in place with Boyko. So I know I've seen a lot of questions about like when we'll see PXE TVL go up from Bera ETH, etc. So that won't be until Berachain mainnet itself. That's not our choice. That's kind of like a Boyko slash Berachain design choice. I think part of it is just they wanted to limit the complexity of the migration, and rightfully so. So we have to accommodate that for now. But it will help that we will have a couple of weeks to build up some pre-mainnet TVL. I think that'll be good. And we also, I think, when Boyko goes live, people will start to see who all of the partners are that we're working with, not only on the Berachain side, but on the maybe like non-Berachain native side. We have a few of those we've been cooking up over the past few weeks, actually longer than that. And so we're pretty confident that Bera ETH will be a major player on Berachain, just in terms of liquid staking. Like there's going to be a lot of Ethereum mainnet projects making their way over there, but we're working with a lot of them on stuff. So I don't know, Sammy, is there anything you want to add on to Bera ETH and Berachain strategy in general?
No, I mean, I think people are starting to see that the branded LSTs are picking up a bunch of traction between deposits and liquidity and just overall TVL and these things. Like Flare is going really good, ZK Sync is going really good. So, these things like it's a big mission to, replace WETH on all the chains. And I think that it's going to plan. So, yeah, Boyko is one of those ones where this isn't going to be the only Voico vault, right? But because of this dynamic where people are like launching vaults to deposit in the pre-deposit vault, right? So that's why they call them the pre-pre vaults. It's not that it caught us off guard. It's just that like because of the way Bear ETH works, it's not Stakestone or EtherFi where you have the asset already exist on mainnet and then you can bridge it into whatever vault you want that does whatever on whatever chain. It's a new asset getting issued on the chain, right? So there's some the these are like pre vaults, and I think like Boyko, which is the pre vault, will be what gets like all of the traction, and that's where we're set to like actually launch and succeed and stuff. So I'm not overly concerned about it.
Yeah, so bear with us on the Boyko stuff. Like it's a pretty chaotic time for everybody, mostly because Berachain's trying to coordinate this massive sort of like pre-incentives program, and they're also trying to coordinate the launch of the chain, and then there's a shitload of like partners involved. So it's a little bit chaotic, but we'll get there and it'll be good. The ETH from EtherFi and Stakestone Vault may end up as Bera ETH. Not exactly that, but we are working with them on stuff. So like it'll make sense whenever Boyko goes live. You'll be able to see like what the setup is. It'll make a lot more sense, trust. But yeah, the branded LSC stuff has been going very well. I don't know if the last time we were on the community call, if we shared the new sort of like branded LST page. We
One other thing also about just Bear ETH is that I sent it in the Discord also, I think, in between now and the last call, that we were a recipient of the RFA program for Bearchain. They did two airdrops, right? One for, or two portions of the entire airdrop thing. I don't know how many there are total. but one of them was RFA, which was like request for airdrop for applications, and then there's another one for community members, and then we won the RFA one. There was over like 1,000 applicants, and we were one of the ones that were selected. So we yet to figure out what that number is. I asked some other people. No one knows what the number is yet. But yeah, that should be pretty good. Like we should be using that for all kinds of initiatives to get more of a presence on the chain. So
Fire. So yeah, lots of stuff on the Barachain side. It'll be fun. And then I don't know if we mentioned. I just shared the link in the town hall chat. I don't know if we mentioned the branded LST page we cooked up on the last call, but people have been asking for a list of like the live branded LSTs, the TVL they have, etc. So we finally launched a page for that. We also have another page that we are wrapping up that is more of a like marketing page, so to say. It's something that we can send to partners and something that we can use to like shill the narrative of branded LSTs a little bit more. This one is more for you guys who are like writing research reports or things like that, where you can just look at the data from a bird's eye view and kind of get a good index for all of the LSTs that are live. So pretty cool page. Combined TVL is 8 million right now, but going to be way higher very soon. One thing to note, like on the branded LST side, there's on the ZKE side specifically, there's still an incentive program that we are going to join. We're cooking up some more stuff with Saiyan ETH. Flare ETH also has some good stuff in the pipeline. I think that one's been a underrated success story. And then with Barra ETH, obviously we have a lot going on, and then from there we have
and
a
we
couple more
still
that we're gonna launch.
still got to get Plume Movement and Arbitrum out of the door.
Yeah,
So
there are a couple more we're gonna launch that have pretty good incentives behind them. So
people were asking about Abstract, what we're doing there. Abstract is the same way you hear like Base is a derivative of Optimism, like it's an aligned chain, or they use the same stack or whatever. Abstract is like the same dynamic, but with the ZK stack instead of Optimism. And we're in contact with them, and like ZK ETH will be there, and we'll be like we'll have a presence on Abstract via ZK ETH. So it's definitely like a ecosystem to keep an eye on. And there's some other cool ZK chains launching that we're talking to as well. But that's the idea with doing that for Arbitrum and for ZK Sync is we can like get one big chain which is like ZK Sync and Arbitrum, but also like all of the other chains, all of the other L2s that are launching are all like derivatives of these three stacks, right? Arbitrum, Optimism, or ZK Sync, and they're all like friendly forks, I guess you can call them. So yeah.
cool. Wait, which one is unannounced, Funky, that you're talking about?
There was one that was leaked.
Just now?
No, a while ago.
Oh, okay, yeah. There is one that's leaked, but people know who it is. The diehards in the Discord probably know who it is. I think I actually said it out loud on the last call, maybe.
Those who know.
Cool. Let's see. What else should we cover? We did mode. We did pre-deposits. Oh yeah,
There's the governance stuff.
Yeah. Do you want to walk through that?
Well, there's some external governance stuff. One was we had a proposal up on the Alchemix forum to increase the cap for APX ETH from 500 to 1,000. That's been passed and has been enacted. So I think the cap on Alchemix is now 1,000. And Vicky's doing a great job. And then the other one was that we posted a proposal on Venus for them to support the ZK ETH as an asset on ZK ETH Venus market. And this will just like expand our reach in Venus after we already had APX ETH supported as an asset. I mean, it shows the kind of intent we have on the ZK ETH ecosystem for ZK ETH. We're getting oracles, we're getting it integrated, making maximum use of the Ignite program there. And then the last one was that we had an internal governance proposal for the PX ETH incentives, which passed. So thanks to everybody who voted.
Fire. Yeah. Oh, and two more things, I guess, on the branded LST front. One is that the ZK Sync Ignite program has actually been very strong for ZK Sync era. Like, obviously, the power of incentives is good, but I think they've added like $200 million of TVL on the chain since the program started, which is pretty good. I think it's been like a relatively short amount of time.
And the second round of incentives will start, I think, next week. And the first round was kind of like a teaser, and the second one will be much stronger. And ZK ETH on Maverick will participate in the next round of incentives. So, yeah, not a bad place to get some yield.
Cool. Yeah, and on the ZK side, we actually have a pretty cool integration going live, I think, next week for those of you looking to save some money on gas. So that should be fun. And then the other thing I was going to bring up on the branded LST front, I have now forgotten, actually. Fuck. All right, whatever. We'll move on, and I'll try to I'll try to remember it. I genuinely don't remember what I was going to say. Cool. Then let's talk about maybe the 2025 stuff, Sammy. So since the last community call, Sammy and I penned a little bit of an article on X that, this is a tradition at this point that at the end of each year, or really at the start of a new year, we like to reflect on the year before, but then, put out our thoughts on the year ahead. And I think this article captures really well like what we are thinking of going into 2025. So, Sammy, I don't know if you want to talk about the whole like institutional abstraction idea.
Just start. I'm looking for my charger.
Okay, cool. So to kick things off, we kind of look back at all of the things that we sort of accomplished in 2024 as a result of like where we saw things going in 2023. And I know we covered some of this on the last community call, but just in case anybody missed it, like during 2023, things were pretty slow. I think we were starting to see a lot of stagnation on the sort of like meta governance angle that we were pursuing. PXGMX and PXGLP didn't really like pick off as much as we'd wanted. Same with like Marionette, which is like this feature for VE tokens on Hidden Hand. And that was just really a symptom of like where DeFi was at that point. And as all of you know, we kind of pivoted the focus to build something in a vertical that we knew would really start to grow, which is liquid staking and like flight to quality use cases on Ethereum and other, big layer ones and layer twos. And so our goal with PXETH was to just like build the thing and get it out the door. And I think, we launched PXETH, what was it, Funky, like right before the holidays in 2023.
Yeah, I think it was like mid-December.
Yeah, so like worst time to launch if you're like looking for a ton of growth, but I think it was good for us because we got to see the system in the wild and then try to figure out how to grow it like during the new year. And so going into 2024, PXETH had like 1,200 ETH staked in it. Today, obviously, it has over 50,000 ETH staked, which is a significant increase. That's like a pretty good year of growth for us, considering we didn't really get to take advantage of a lot of the points Ponzu or like crazy, like, I don't know, crazy like restaking narratives that happened. All of that stuff, we didn't get an opportunity to participate in that because we were so new. And so given that we got, 4,000 something % growth in a year without all of those things, I think is a good sign of product market fit. All we had to do was teach or show people that we knew how to scale the yield. But then as we saw the product growing, we also kind of knew that we needed to find an edge, as you all know, because one of the biggest questions we got all the time was like, how are we going to beat Lido, or how are we going to beat Rocket Pool, or blah, blah, blah. And those were fair questions, and we had some ideas. One of them was, the original mode announcement, RIP, which was like get projects to sort of stake their bridged ETH into APX ETH to earn the highest staking yield for their users. But the thing that's difficult about that is convincing chains to actually do it. They have to inherit risk that they may not want to inherit from a third-party protocol. And that's when the idea for branded LSTs was basically born, and that like we could kind of de-risk it for them by making it optional, but also giving the users something to do with the ETH on that chain rather than just like staking the bridged assets. And then so we started building branded LSTs, locked in a ton of huge partners that were definitely not the same. Like they're in a way higher caliber than the partners we were working with before 2023, minus a few names. And then from there, we started expanding to the institutional product and things like that. So long rant, but all that to say is like we went through a really strong evolution last year, and it still wasn't really like a growth phase in my opinion. Like we spent a ton of time building, laying the foundation, landing the partnerships, making the deals that we wanted to make. And now 2025 is the
Rebranding.
year yeah,
Rebranding.
and rebranding. And so like we really just laid a solid foundation last year and even still had a ton of growth, but we weren't like full gas on that. Like we weren't full accelerating, and 2025 is the year we want to fully accelerate. So Sammy, I'll let you take it from here if you're back.
Yeah, no, I think you described it accurately. I think the goal here is like double down on the BD team and the growth team and business teams that we have, and make the devs' lives easier so that it's not so much of. I think all the tech debt that we had is all out of the way and done, and now it's like if there's something on the devs' plates, it's like done with like a purpose of not just like shooting shots in the dark and trying to get something that sticks, but rather like something that directly results in something material, like big TVL or big institutional partnership or any of those things, right? So yeah, that's the only thing I'd add.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, Terrence, you're up on stage. Is there something you wanted to say up here, or are you just up here for looks?
Looks.
Okay, just making sure. I didn't want to leave you hanging if you had something cool to say.
Vibe value add.
Cool, but yeah, I mean, and if you're interested in our like more in-depth thoughts, I recommend reading the X article. I think it covers everything pretty nicely. But yeah, at risk of like repeating ourselves, I think this year is going to be really good for us. It's the first time we've closed a year out where we knew exactly what 2020, like the next year would look like. Sometimes with the way that the markets have changed over the past couple of years, everything evolves so rapidly that we've had to be like willing to pivot very quickly. And now I don't feel like we're in that position because we're in a vertical that we know is going to be here for a long time. We know what our edge is, we know who our partners are, and we know what we need to do to get to whatever, a billion TVL, 2 billion, a billion ETH, all of the ETH as the branded LST for Ethereum mainnet, so on and so forth. So in a really good spot. What's Terrence's max bench? You been in the gym, Terrence? Don't be afraid to unmute for this one. He's dodging.
What does that mean?
Your max bench press, bro.
Oh, my max bench press. I'd love to say something else.
So what's up? No way you mute. That's crazy.
500 pounds on each side.
Yeah, I don't know why you guys are fading Terry's bench press. All your ETH belong to us, yeah. Yeah, Figgy's saying you're not a gym guy, Terry. Wait till they see the type of pants Figgy wears whenever we're at the big like TradFi conferences in 3 years. Figgy wears the tightest pants you could possibly own. Almost like Figgy tracks the people to the stall. Progress. Oh yeah, that's a good question, Joker Frog. Actually, progress on the validator upgrade / migration. I reckon we could probably provide like more insight into what we were working on there. Never. I don't know if you want to do it or Funky if you want to, but I'd be good to provide like what we did for this particular upgrade.
Yeah, we're just working with like. We're just.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, so it's pretty straightforward. Like we were doing a lot of the work ourselves, and now we're starting to work with people who are way better at it than us. And I think we did pretty good for not being like LST like infrastructure experts on the like ETH staking side. I mean, we know what we're doing, but still running it at such a large scale is tricky to do perfect. I mean, even like Lido and all these others have a difficult time with it, and so we basically just started looking for ways to offload some of that work to more experienced parties, and so the migration is underway there. Will the initial IPX flows be greater than resolved TVL? Only one way to find out. Making sure I didn't miss anything above. We covered Terry's max bench. Did you say glue? I don't know what that is. Okay. So yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Funky, maybe you can say what you're typing out loud just for the recording.
So Joker probably had a question about the timeline for migration. So all new validators that are being spun up are with the new validator operator. We've been adding a lot more validators now, so you should see the amount of pending staked ETH decreasing. I think this weekend we'll do a big push to try and get through most of the ETH. You say, I mean, I don't know if we're allowed to say that. Sammy, I don't know, you're probably closest to this. But then it's not kind of like a full migration. Like I think we had like 900 validators or something. Not all existing 900 validators will be immediately moved to the new validator partner, and that's kind of more of a two reasons for that. One is that there's like security issues with kind of transferring the private key between validator operators, and the second one is that it would be possible to do kind of a gradual migration, but that requires kind of a manual spin down and spin up, which is kind of very operationally heavy. So what we'll be doing is that all new validators will be with a new partner, and then all withdrawals will be processed through the old validators, so that over time all the old validators will be taken down. But we should see an impact on the yield kind of already as the new validators are coming out.
Yeah, and Sammy shared the link to who the validator operator is, Pure 2. Good tech. And it'll be nice for us to have to worry less about this. I mean, ultimately, like, yeah, we're kind of vampire attacking the old validators with the new ones over time. And so eventually it'll be a transition.
We got any Australians here? It's late. It's pretty late in Australia, right? Probably not.
Yeah.
Swaggy, right? Six is Australian. I don't know if anyone else here is. But
Like
yeah,
3 a.m. there.
Yeah, it's pretty late. So yeah, they're an Australian-based group, really good guys. They really know what they're doing. They're working with EtherFi, Lido, all the other people, and crazy. It took a while because it was a crazy onboarding process. Even more legal work to get this done than IPX somehow. So, but we got it done, and now we're moving on it. So
There we go. We got another Aussie in here, James.
no, Kiwi. That's New Zealand. Kiwis are New Zealand.
Oh shit, my bad.
Bro, Colton, you're doing like a max insult for him.
Oh, my bad. Is that racist? Fuck.
Do they not like each other? New Zealand and Australia?
I don't know, bro.
Like it's like the Canadians and the Americans, bro.
Well, first off, I'm American. I don't know jack shit about anybody else's culture, so the only country on earth is America.
Dude, every single person I know, every single guy I know from New Zealand is named James. That just has to be the most popular name in New Zealand.
James, how many Jameses do you know?
His name is James James.
Two first names, but also the same first name. Oh, okay. So you're culturally appropriating your own culture on Discord.
When is World Liberty Fi staking? So we've had about 3 chats with them now, ever since that whole saga, and things are moving along, guys. I think so. What it is going to be is it's going to be like a friendly, sanctioned Aave fork, right? And most of the efforts are going towards UX and legal and stuff like that to try and make it more accessible, right? It's not Trump's hedge fund or anything like that, and the Trump administration is like not even really involved, but there's some connection there through the people that are running it. They're good people. They really like what we're doing. They are going to announce in the coming days or weeks, I guess. I don't know what timeline they're working on. They're going to announce what layer 2 they're going to be launching on, and just so happens that we have a branded LST there coming, or I won't spoil if it's already live or not. And once that's rolling, then we are already working with like their risk team to get that asset listed as one of the few assets that's accepted. So there's a bunch of stuff that could potentially block it, and as you can imagine, they're probably getting hounded by every single team in the space. But there's no reason why we shouldn't. There's no reason why we shouldn't get something through there. It's just a matter of like timing and legals and all the other stuff we've been dealing with, like with all the other projects. So hopefully we can like get something out the door there. And if something becomes material, then I'm not going to be talking about it. But just because like it was something that was like unanswered for a while, that's kind of where it's at. Is like we're scoping a potential integration with them, but there's nothing official, nothing inked. So still in the discovery phase.
Yeah, I mean, even still, I wouldn't underestimate how many unlaunched things there are in the pipeline still. I think we probably teased a lot of it over the course of last year, but there's a lot of things that we get like a lot of win questions because historically we've been able to give you exact timelines based on like what we're doing. Now that we are in a phase where we're working with a lot of third parties across the board who also have other third parties to coordinate with, it's much more difficult for us to give a timeline unless we're like a week out from a set launch date or something like this. Then even still, that could be pretty difficult. So a lot of stuff in the pipeline. We of course will keep updating you guys as we have information. But yeah, the B2B model gives us less flexibility that I know you guys are used to, and so are we. Like sometimes it's very frustrating that we can't move as fast as we want to, but it comes with the territory. Cool. Anything else that people want to cover, either up here or in the chat? We'll give it a few more minutes, and then if not, we can wrap it up. The IPX update is the same as it's been. When it's ready, you guys will know. PE soon.
Yeah, there should be some more stuff on PE from next week, I believe. They haven't. They delayed their mainnet from when we last talked about it. So
Yeah, they're doing a lot of coordinating as well, and I'm sure they don't want to conflict with Barachain stuff. So wonky timelines, but yeah, it'll be soon. PE is actually going to be a cool one. Plume is really leaning into PE as an asset on the network, so that'll be a fun LST. Sonic ETH? I don't think so.
no, nothing on the Sonic. We just got something on Sonic, right? The
Beats hidden hand market,
Beats
yeah.
hidden hand market, but I think this quarter is going to be like focused on like getting out the ones that we've announced. As long as these teams don't keep delaying, getting IPX out, getting the branded LSTs out, all of that sort of stuff, and focusing on like getting them all to be as successful as Flare and even like Flare and ZK Sync, the ones that are going good, like potentially like 10xing those, honestly, right? And like getting all the ones we have out to be like as successful, so that the case for the branded LSTs is stronger when it comes back into like the cycle of getting more in the pipeline. So I think it's a complete scaling mission now and less about like getting more out the door. So if we haven't announced it, it's probably something that we're not going to be. Well, actually, we are going to announce a really big one soon. But if it's other than that one, if it's like if it's not something we haven't announced already, the goal is probably like get them all out and get them all as liquid as possible, so that the next cycle of like getting more in the door is better.
Now they're
And
going to
we
be
get
asking what the big one is for fucking weeks.
everyone in the chat. Well, let me see who knows. At least 5 of you know who. You guys were you. Who's this? Strife was literally Strife. You were the one who sent it in here and leaked it. No, wasn't it Strife?
I don't know. I don't remember who did it.
Yeah. Strife knows what it is. Yeah. There's no point talking about it. Like we'll announce it when. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess one more thing, and then we can wrap this up. So I know a lot of you have seen the sort of IETH stuff on Inc. lately. I just want to clarify a couple of things. One, the the Inc. team is doing like a quest program at the moment, and there is no like a minimum required deposit to complete that quest, or if there is, it's very small. And basically the how do I frame this? The people who are using IETH right now in this like vast quantity to complete the quest are doing it in such small amounts that it's difficult for them to justify the unstaking cost. Yeah, Vicky just shared the numbers. They are fucking bananas. Like it's like whatever, tens of thousands of users, but still only like whatever 200k TVL. And so this is not a reflection of like the
But
quality of the product.
actually, with the 200k TVL, we're like top 3 DApp on Inc. So
Yeah, and that was going to be the next point I go into is like, so just to clarify that the current usage and like the feedback they're getting, et cetera, or we are getting is not a reflection of like the product. It's more of a reflection of like the size people are using. And it's just not like a realistic like use case for IETH. Like nobody's staking $1 worth of ETH and holding it long term. So that's one thing to note. The second thing to note is what Sammy said, even at the current TVL, IETH is still one of the larger dApps on Inc., but that's primarily because we are still waiting on a lot of the DeFi protocols to deploy on the Inc. L2 that we partnered with. So DeFi use cases are still a little bit sparse. Basically, what happened was the Inc. team decided to like launch early, like 2 months early or something like that. And we were one of the few teams that was actually like ready to go when they did that. And I think we talked about it on a community call a few weeks ago where we had to like turn around the product really quickly. So we are very early to Inc. and we're still waiting on a couple of opportunities there. But I just wanted to cover it before we close this up because I know there's been a ton of inflow of people. And I'm requesting that you all please be patient with those users. They're just humble quest farmers. So don't be too mean to them. Cool. Any other questions before we wrap this up? Good. All right. Well, thanks everybody for coming to hang out. Appreciate the time as always, and we will see you all in 2 weeks.
the two people that were like, "What is it? Like, which one is it?" UTXE and Stripe both knew what it was.
Whatever. All right. Well, we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Thanks for hanging out. Some good stuff on the horizon. So be on the lookout and make sure keep it busy on Twitter. You guys have been killing it. So peace.
Peace.